Alright team, so hear me out. Whirlwind as of right now for Barbarians in Season 2 is the worst core skill slash build for Barbarians, period. However, I have spent, because listen, spin to win in Diablo 4, I mean, even in the Diablo franchise, it's the most, I don't know, iconic skill for Barbarians to use. So I spent at least 14 hours trying to make it work, and what I found was kind of crazy. So that's what I'm going to show you today. If you want to just look at the guide, of course I have a build planner that you will find in the pinned comment section. But of course there's going to be a few things that I want to talk about. For one, this build is surprisingly good and bad at the same time, which may sound really confusing. I get that for sure. But if you just want to read the planner, like I said, you can. There is one statement I'm going to make. I think, and you can kind of see me one-shotting all of the bosses here. I think with this build, if you have like insane gear, it's the fastest farming build in the game. Now, this is kind of counterproductive. I'm only mentioning it because the leaderboard system is coming out. So this could be, if nothing changes, highly unlikely, but if nothing changes, this could be the best Barbarian build for pushing whatever competitive ladder we have, if it's what I think it is. If it's what I think it is. Similar to something that Last Epoch does, and it seems that Blizzard has been watching the progress of that game. So we're going to talk about that today here, as we can kind of briefly see. I guess I can hover over the planner while I'm doing this. We're using Deathblow, Whirlwind, 3 Shouts, and Call of the Ancients. If you caught my video in the preseason where I theory crafted a minion build for Barbarian, that's what I'm using here, and it actually works. What do I mean by minion build? So we have Call of the Ancient, which summons 3 Ancients as aids, right? So this gives us a few options. The first one is Anticipation. You get global cooldown from your ultimate. This one's whatever. But as far as the minion aspect of this, oh, I can't do this without hitting edit. If we click on this and we go to, let me find it, Feed the Coven. On a lucky hit chance, your Conjuration Companion minion, which the Call of the Ancients do apply to, have a 60% chance of restoring resource. Who cares? That's okay. But also increases your damage by 10% multiplicative for 4 seconds. So I use that with this build here, and you can kind of swap Feed the Coven for Anticipation. It's really up to you. What I would do personally is, if you have Flicker Step, you take Anticipation out and you put in Feed the Coven. If you don't have Flicker Step, put back Anticipation and use whatever boots you have. That's kind of my go-to for this. So what makes this build so strong? As we all know, Whirlwind is the fastest farming build in the game, because while you are hindered by your movement speed, you can override that by stacking movement speed, and you just move the fastest with consistent damage, so it makes sense that it's the fastest speed farming build. Where has Whirlwind always struggled? Whirlwind has always struggled with single target. How did I fix that? I added Deathblow and dropped my basic skill. Was that risky? Not really, because we're also using Call of the Ancients, which gives us Fury. And when paired with something like Flicker Step, you can kind of see, I mean, you know what? Forget the footage I have. We're just going to head straight on in to killing monster and rages, those poison damage. Sure, we'll head into this so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So this is like a baseline build based on what I have for this, right? So I did mention in the guide, if you have Overkill, that's going to be huge. Overkill is going to be very massive, because as of right now, what you're going to see me do is, you only have enough damage because of how bad Whirlwind is, and I guess I can explain for anyone who is curious or cares why Whirlwind is so bad. When they nerfed crit damage as well as vulnerable damage, Whirlwind suffered the most, because you cannot access Overpower with H handling skill. So what did I do? You're about to see. Bam. We use the Overpower with Deathblow, and you're gonna see, if you, I mean, I'll show you in this, but you're gonna see in the guide and how I'm using Deathblow and stacking Deathblow skills here. So the cool part about this is Whirlwind not being able to proc Overpower is actually a blessing. A lot of people were talking about the past Hammer the Ancients build and how it's kind of difficult to micromanage, I guess is a good word, their Overpower procs. However, when you only have one skill that can proc it, which is death blow, you're doing it all the time. So that's why you saw those clips of me early on just one-shotting every boss, because that's what happens. You one-shot the bosses. So this is pretty much the playstyle. As you can see, I'm going to use Call of the Ancients here. And when I dash through, it reduces the cooldown significantly, and I can just move to the next pack. Well, I guess I do have to kill them eventually, but if you find any big elites, this is kind of like an elite hunter. Obviously, this is slay all enemies, so it's not the best example, but let's kill this damage resistance mob here. Then we death blow. Oh, don't want to get frozen, and we death blow. And you see the big numbers. Our ultimate's already off cooldown. Very nice, very nice. We start dashing through people, getting these kills, and this is the gameplay and game style. Now, why I speculated this is going to be the strongest build is if you can get Whirlwind's damage baseline to start one-shotting these mobs. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here. Because as of right now, you cannot one-shot these mobs. You can't. I mean, it's kind of close, but like the damage is so bad. Hemomancy, the vampiric power, and there are just so many other factors here that are actually one-shotting. But if we can do this with just the raw damage, like if these guys just got one shot and I was just flying through this, this build would be, I mean, insane is kind of an understatement, but it really isn't insane. So, like I said, I could have made a build planner saying use Grandfather, use Shaco, but like, who is that realistic for, you know? Most people, there we go, like 4 million damage. I mean, you've obviously seen me critting for 40 million on the overpowered bosses, but that's a separate story here. It's really simple. You walk up to the boss, pop your 3 shouts, you pop Call of the Ancients here, then you death blow the boss once, doesn't die, you spin 1 time, and then you death blow the boss again, and you will have 2 overpower procs. So how does this work? This is actually one of the uniques that I'm curious to try on this for 15% additional multiplicative damage and CDR. We don't really need CDR for this build, but of course it helps with the shouts. Don't think this ring is going to be good for this build, but it's very nice to have. So what exactly are we doing here? We have Earth Strikers for absolutely no reason because we're not even swapping skills. So of course this isn't going to be in the guide, but this is just what I have here. For some reason, this is probably from my Hammer the Ancients build and I just overlooked this, but I'm missing a damage thing here. So this will help for sure. This is where you want Call to the Ancients, Ancestral Force, Echo, one of them, where when I'm Whirlwinding, I will spawn one of the Ancients, which will then give me the buff if you do decide to take the Vampiric Power instead of this one, the ultimate cooldown. Actually, I can get rid of that now. And I can swap in exactly what we were talking about right here. 10% multiplicative damage increase, bam. So I do that and my damage goes up, perfect. What I really wanted to show you was this. After spending 100 Fury, easy to do with Whirlwind, your next weapon mastery skills deal 180% multiplicative up to 200% multiplicative damage. So this whole time as I'm spinning, looking for that next elite, I'm guaranteeing an overpower proc. How am I doing that? Let's talk about the Paragon board. Bone Breaker every 12 seconds. I get a guaranteed proc. And then we go back one more time to our Vampiric. We have Blood Boil. Every 20 seconds, your next skill is guaranteed to overpower. These stack. And we really don't want to wait for Death Blow to come off cooldown just in case it misses or it doesn't hit someone. So that's why we have this failsafe Weapon Masters here giving us 2 charges of Death Blow. You can even see my helmet here. I have rank 3 death blow. I'm missing 1 rank, so it could be +4. And then on the necklace, I have +3 ranks to all weapon mastery skills, which is why Whirlwind has 9 ranks and death blow has 11 ranks. So this would be huge. And like I said, obviously, this is going to scale if you get like a Shaco. But if you can get those as like a long endgame goal, this build's going to be insane. Like I said, I just got the Joritz, the Mighty Helmet. I'm going to be using this. This is going to increase my damage kind of by a lot, which I'm excited for, which means my Whirlwind's going to be hitting faster. I just got this before I started recording. Probably should have had it for the video, but it is what it is. Now, as far as this ring, I've been considering, I'm going to be dropping crit rate, so it's not the best idea, but I have been considering using this since I do have some bleed in the build with Berserk Ripping. It just does the most damage. trying to find, I squeezed out as much damage as possible, minus this Earth Strikers that I could possibly get to make the Whirlwind hit harder, because it's just doing like 200,000 damage. And if you look at my abilities here on my skill tree, I'm going with Unconstrained, not going with Gushing Wounds because it's just so underwhelming. So all of these things put together makes this, you can one-shot any boss in the game. I have one-shot every single boss in the game solo. I can stop one-shotting them once it gets to me and 2 other people. So a total of 3-man group, I cannot hit above, I think it's like 50 to 60 million, which is the total health of, I believe, Duriel. Could be wrong on that. You can fact check on me that for sure. But so if you're carrying 1 other person, you can one-shot anything. If you're carrying 2 people, you're not going to be able to one-shot. It's going to take 3 total death blows, which is, so it's going to take 20 seconds. Not a big deal, but it's just going to take 20 seconds. So we have all of that, and I may stick with this build to see what it's like best out, but it's not going to be achievable for most players. So if you really want to play spin to win, you can definitely do it. It's going to be fine. You'll clear all content in the game. It's fast, and there are a lot of very loyal spin to win people who only want to play this. I get it, and I respect it. I love Whirlwind as well. So if you want to do that, this is the best way. You're not really going to run into Fury issues. I don't have Fury cost reduction on my boots. I don't have it on my necklace. I don't have resource gen on my rings, right? Correct. I don't have that anywhere. So all I have is cooldown, and I don't even have the Warbinger Paragon board. Now, I will say this, if you find that you're struggling with Fury for some reason, I can't really think of why you would be, but if for some reason you are struggling, what you're going to do is you're going to swap out this Hemorrhage Paragon board right here. You're going to put in Warbinger. You are going to, of course, go to, I mean, we can just go to it really quickly. Here we go, Warbinger. Here we go, Warbringer. And then you're going to get the glyph and then head up, not this one, I don't believe. No, you're going to head to this side, Hungering Fury, Fury on Kill. That's going to sustain you. And you can take Warbringer if you want. You don't need it. Fortify is pretty solid with this build, but if you feel like you're lacking on Fortify for some reason, go ahead and take that. But the main thing is you want Hungering Fury here for Fury on Kill, which is going to make it feel a lot better, and you won't ever run out of Fury while you're spinning. So that's going to be the build guide here. You saw the footage, you saw this is an absolute pumper. Technically, you can say this is a death blow build. However, other death blow builds have the issue where they can't guarantee overpower where they want it as consistently and as hard hitting as we're seeing now. With this, it's very simple. You go, you spin, you pop 3 shouts, your ultimate. This is like a turn your brain off Netflix grinding build here, which is why many people like it, including myself. So that's going to conclude this build guide here. What am I doing next? Probably Upheaval, to see what the deal with Upheaval is, because it looks kind of cool. Now that I have this, not that, Joritz, the Mighty Helm, I think Upheaval is going to be kind of cool. The issue is Upheaval is going to have to be faster than Hammer of the Ancients, and I don't see that happening personally. But if it can be done, I will find a way. As always, if you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next upload.